We're in Vienna, Austria with Mercedes-Benz, and they have just unveiled the new AMG GT 63, and I've got one word for it: sexy.
Yeah, we're here for the Wiener Schnitzel and the car, and this is perfect timing because just 2 days ago we took back the SL AMG 63, and this car and the new SL are built on the same platform, but that's really all that they have in common. They're really quite different.
Yeah, we fell in love with the SL 63 when we had it. We had the perfect weather in Vancouver, and now seeing this new GT, wow, it just looks so sporty, and it really has some 911 vibes to it, don't you think?
Well, they're going after their main competitor would be someone that's shopping for a 911. They've added all-wheel drive to this car, which is an important component for many parts of the world. Also, you wouldn't know it, Andrea, but this car is actually bigger than the last AMG GT.
Yeah.
It doesn't look it, and the main reason is that they made the hood a little bit shorter. They moved the driving position forward, and what did they added in behind this, the first row seats?
Yeah, we've got 2 more seats back there, which I think is just so practical and convenient for people. Even if you don't have small children to put back there, I find that it's great just to throw some bags, especially if the passenger side is occupied. Now there's lots to unbox with this model. This has got so much going on. It has an active AMG ride control. It also has AMG anti-roll stabilization.
Active rear steering too.
Active rear steering, and it also has an electronic controlled rear differential. And you know what else? It also has available ceramic high performance brake system if that's something that you're also interested in.
All right, so we talked to the people that are building these cars in Valterbach, and we asked them what was the hardest thing to do with this new AMG GT, and they said it was the aerodynamics. Now you would look at it and you think, well, you just make a sexy, sleek looking car, but they actually have to be able to achieve a broad spectrum of potential buyers, from driving in the city and being comfortable to, of course, driving on the Autobahn. We don't have that problem in North America, but you have to have a car that's stable at speed. So the front aero is active, the spoiler at the bottom goes up and down, and then this one that we have here is a fixed spoiler at the back. Most of them come with the active rear spoiler that moves into 5 different positions.
So what's under the hood of this? Well, it's a handcrafted 4-liter biturbo V8. It has a 9-speed multi-clutch transmission. So a wet clutch replaces the torque converter in this, and Mercedes-Benz says that this makes the vehicle lighter, but also the shifts are really quick, which is, I think, what people want from a high-performance vehicle. When we drove the SL63, it was a real blend of performance, but also comfort level. This one is all about high performance.
Yeah, but they wanted to have a broad envelope too, right? So if you think about the main competitor to this car, it would be the 911. And the great thing about the 911 is it is a bit of a chameleon. You can take it to the grocery store, you can drive it to work, you can beat on it on the weekend. Well, I think that's exactly what they're going with this car. It's a car you could drive every day and you could beat on it on the weekend. And I tell you what, Andrea, let's walk around and show the back, because that's pretty cool.
Now this AMG 63 model has 577 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. This is the model that will be available at launch time. There is going to be a 55 GT coming a little bit later, and it has 469 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. It has the same powertrain as the 63 model, same transmission.
Yeah, it's just detuned, and also the body is the same dimension. So this is a wider car than the previous model. The roof line here is just a little bit higher. That's because they have to make space for rear seats. Wheel sizes, base wheel's 20 inches. This car is 21s. I think they look bigger than 21s, but these are a very wide front tire at the front, almost 300 millimeters wide at the front. That's a big tire, so you've got a lot of traction and all-wheel drive. But the big thing is the back. So the one we're looking at here has the Aero package on it. It has the fixed spoiler, as we mentioned earlier. If you get the one without the fixed spoiler, it has the deployed rear spoiler at the back with 5 different stages. This one also has the carbon fiber at the bottom, and you get the quad exhaust and a different diffuser at the very bottom. But here is the showstopper is the huge liftgate with a massive trunk.
Yeah.
And if you pull this lever, the seats fold down.
How convenient is that? Golf clubs will fit in there.
Home
skis.
Depot.
You're all set.
Yeah, this is really making it a much more practical car. So that's the whole thing we're talking about. The whole idea was to have this high performance car that you could use every day, all-wheel drive,
Yeah.
and a huge trunk. That's pretty impressive. So as we mentioned at the very beginning, we just returned 2 days ago the SL AMG 63, and I think the inside is where there's a little bit more of a similarity.
For sure. I just want to say, now that I'm sitting in it, I just want to start it up and I just want to take off in it. But no, not yet. We're going to have to wait for the drive event for that one. It is very similar to the SL. It feels very familiar in here. The seats are super comfortable. I mean, for a sports car, sometimes you think that they would be a little bit harder. That's not the case here. So you can tell, I think, that it's going to be a great vehicle to take on a long road trip for sure. This comes with a 12.8-inch touchscreen and a 12.3-inch digital driver display, just like the AMG SL 63. And Mercedes-Benz is, they really had to think about how much tech to put in here versus analog, and to have the perfect blend for GT owners.
So yes, you've got all that technology with the MBUX system, the touchscreen, the infotainment, your communications, but all the stuff you need to use quickly on an AMG performance car here. So you've got seat controls on the doors, window controls, and then on the steering wheel, you've got the AMG button. You can change things and it's customizable for suspension, for exhaust. Then you've got the performance modes all on the steering wheel. So all those functions are available without having to go into the screen. I like it.
Yeah, and lots of drive modes to choose from smooth, comfortable, sport plus, individual, race. This has got drift mode, so you can tell it's going to be a lot of fun to drive. And one thing to point out is the ambient lighting. You know, in some Mercedes-Benz vehicles, there's just so much ambient lighting. Mercedes-Benz kind of toned it down here. You don't have to keep it on if you don't want to.
It's all about
so
the driver.
It's a little bit subtle.
Yeah, it's all driver focus and looking out the window and not so much about what's on the inside. But your ears can do the work with the Burmester. Is it? I always get it mixed up.
Burmester.
Burmester. I always say Burmeister, but that's wrong. It's Burmester sound system to compete with the AMG engine.
Yeah. So that's a wrap of our first look of the AMG GT 63 hitting dealerships at the beginning of 2024. And I think that this is really going to give the Porsche 911 some good competition.
All right, one question, Andrea. This or the SL we just drove last week?
I gotta say, I'm going with the coupe.
I agree. It's hot.